Hello, everybody, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be on this beautiful little marble we call Earth. This is the HTBox AllReady community stand-up, and we are just jamming today on some progress that we're making. We've got some announcements about RTM. We've got some pull requests in the queue, so we're going to try and plow through this as quickly as we can. And I'm going to start by just throwing things over to Tony.
Thanks, James. Yep. So what we've been doing around some of the timing that's happened at the end of June, beginning of July, is we accepted a number of pull requests. We got a lot of functionality in there. And then with RTM of .NET Core, as well as some stuff related to how Entity Framework migrations will work, we've been trying to get RTM live. We've got it in the project, thanks to Sean Wildermuth and a number of other folks. James and I finally today got it building and publishing and doing everything but actually working up on an Azure website. And so, as we like to say, baby steps are progress. They're just not getting you where you want to be. So we've got everything but the last little bit, and so I'm out there searching the web to try to figure out why we're getting the particular error. So I anticipate we'll likely get that fixed today, in which case I will merge the PR for RTM, make the few little changes I need to do, and then we'll be able to rebase and do all of our builds on top of RTM going forward, which will allow everybody who's working on the project to be using the latest bits and be learning the right stuff. In addition to that, we're going to be focused on, now that we'll have it running up on RTM, probably this weekend I'll spend time running through trying a whole bunch of scenarios, seeing where there are bugs, where there's missing functionality and such, so that hopefully here we can be up on RTM and we can have all the functionality we need for it to be being used right now.
Excellent. Yeah, great progress on the build stuff today. There's you found some pretty good little technical caveats there and everything related to NuGet package restore and everything. So I'm sure we've got a blog post coming from you or something to share with the community, everything you worked through.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I will go to Jim next.
Great. So I will admit I've been a little out of the loop after almost 3-week deployment to Houston for flood relief and a conference and a little vacation. I'm just kind of getting back into things. So one of the things I would appreciate, if possible, is if sometime this week, myself, Cecilia, who's joining us from OpenText Strategies, and some of the Red Cross folks, maybe just a kind of a demo of where the application stands. I think that would be really helpful to get us kind of up to speed so that we know how we can contribute. So if we could schedule something like that, that would be great. Also, we are looking at the weekend of August 6th and 7th is the that conference, Give Camp with Humanitarian Toolbox. Talked to Tony a little bit about this. We have reached out to Twilio, some of my colleagues there, and are having some discussions about maybe some communications pieces that we can put into this application, and that may be something that we can get some people excited about working on that weekend. So, getting a demo and getting us back up to speed, and looking at that conference and what we can accomplish there are the two things I have on my plate. And then I'd also like to just introduce Cecilia Donnelly, who's joining us from OpenText Strategies and is the creators of the getasmokealarm.org website. I wanted her to just come in and sit on the call, meet all of you, and see your ugly mugs, and just know that she's available for questions and coordination as well. So, Cecilia, if you'd like to say hello.
Sure. Hi, thanks, Jim. Yeah, it's nice to meet all of you. It's great to hear what's happening with AllReady. We'll be working some more on the integration from our end at Get a Smoke Alarm. So, as Jim said, a demo would be great, and I hope I'll be able to talk to some of you more about that, either in GitHub issues or on the phone, whatever's easier. So. Great.
Excellent. Yeah, and thanks for, I know, Cecilia, you and I have been kind of going back and forth on GitHub, so nice to meet you virtually. And I think now that we had the fallback to file import working as kind of a safeguard against not being able to do the API integration. So now that we're past that little bit of a hurdle, we can probably spend a little bit more time focusing on getting the API integration up and running. So I think that is wonderful. And like I said, nice to have you on the call. And we will be in communication this next week.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Anything else, Jim?
Yeah, the last thing I'll add is Seattle did use the getaSmokeAlarm.org site. Took about I think over the course of the day about 300 requests for smoke alarms, so about 900 smoke alarms total would be the number that they're looking at in terms of installs. So I know that they're going to start working on those, and anything we can do to get them some help with this, get them some help to get this application going, certainly appreciated on their end.
Right on. Okay, thanks so much. So maybe, Tony, after we get the build up and running, we can coordinate with Jim and Cecilia and others and get a demo going with all of our latest bits pulled in.
Yep.
Richard, I will pass to you.
I am going to miss that conference for the first time ever. Been to every single one of them. I'm a bit sad about missing that. And they've been an awesome supporter of the Humanitarian Toolbox, one of the very first. I felt like a really experienced charitable group of developers that had done work before, kind of knew how to dive in, and some really great contributors have come from there. So I'm off to an Arctic Ocean expedition, so I'm doing something cool that week. But I'm kind of sad to miss this show.
Being that it's the Arctic, I would argue that you're doing something cold that week.
It's really not that cold up there, which is disturbing. But apparently there's a little bit of pack ice, not very much. Yeah, an opportunity to see some polar bears and things. I am looking at some other events further in the future. One that's currently in conversation is actually in the Netherlands, in Eindhoven. So I'm part of a conference called Dev Intersection. We're doing a show in Amsterdam the third week of November, November 14 to 16. And so this would be the weekend trailing that in Eindhoven. So informative stages right now, but something we've been talking about for a while is getting outside of the North American continent. And this is a group of folks that I've spoken at their user group before, and they're all pretty excited about being involved. So those conversations are ongoing. Another event is NDC London. So, and the Norwegian Developers Conference, although they call it the New Developers Conference because they're doing one in London and Sydney. Been involved with them for many years and always been fans of HTBox. So, an opportunity to run a bit of a codeathon preceding the NDC London show, and that would be in January. But there's still some more opportunities here. I don't want to not have any codeathons between August and November. I think there's some other locations, other events, folks that want to get involved. I can't guarantee that all of us will be at every one of them, but certainly we can Skype in, and happy to have a group of folks working on the project. There's lots to build. If you're listening or watching this, you're going to hear about an awful lot of code, and we could use your help.
Right on. Thanks, Richard.
And Richard, I'd add to that, we also will be at Grace Hopper in October.
Oh, of course.
And so I will be there, and hopefully we'll have another person or two. And then, yeah, I missed that conference last year for the first time ever, but we'll be there representing HTBox this year, and so we're already started the planning with that conference, folks. And as you said, they're nothing but sort of the most supportive and most extensive folks we work with in terms of getting a lot of work done that weekend. So very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't know that those guys know that they were such an inspiration to us in the early days of HTBox.
Yeah.
That we sort of came out the other side of that weekend of coding going, wow, you could really do this with codeathons and engaged people. And, it's not the code that you write at a codeathon, it's that folks get connected to the project, and then they're here with us on the Hangouts, and they continue to contribute. And I think the first few times that ever happened, it was at that conference.
Right on. And we, of course, we're all fairly available via Twitter. There's the at HTBox Twitter handle, so you can communicate via there, or Tony or Richard or Jim or myself. There's lots of ways to get plugged in. Feel free to do that. But speaking of overseas and off of the North American content, we do have a couple of our devs online. One is from North America, but I'll toss it over the ocean. And Steve, if you just want to give us any updates as to what you're working on.
Not a lot this week. Just sort of been waiting for the RTM stuff to settle down really, and then looking to pick up again once that's stabilised. Don't want to make too many changes that would need heavy merging really.
Sure, sounds good. There is one PR out there right now that changes the in-memory database context and flips it into a shared context through an XUnit collections feature. I wouldn't mind your review on that one as well if you could have a look at it and see. It looks stable to me. It is a change, but I'm worried about the Lava architecture, the Lava flow architecture happening because none of our other tests are wired up that way. So I've got an ask in there if the intention is to move the other tests as well. However, I would appreciate your getting another set of eyes on that if you could this week.
Sure, yeah, Mike and I have chatted a bit about that back and forth already, so yeah.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Rob?
I've gotten pulled onto other things, and so I am going to solve the maps today and hopefully have a PR in place. Because the app has moved quite a bit, I'm going to sit with Steve for a minute and see how to get to the page that I'm supposed to modify today.
Awesome, that sounds great. For myself on my end, I was working on the little bit on the integration bits, doing the token generation for some of the for the API controller, so we can now create. After a user is signed up, we can actually give them the role of an API user and generate a key for them. So that's going to allow third parties to call in, such as the work that Cecilia's been doing over at getaSmokealarm.org. We also, I also worked on the import CSV feature. So Jim provided a sample CSV file for us from the Red Cross for the signups that happened a couple of weeks ago, and we can now successfully pull all of that data in as a request. And all of those requests can then flow through the system per the work that Steve has been working on with Mike, I believe. So we've got those pieces in place as well. Today I'll be working on anything that I can help with Tony for the build, and then I'm going to probably, what was the other thing that we said I was going to tackle today? It's already slipped my mind here, Tony.
The moving the web, seeing if we can move the web job to be a core project and not.
Right. So when we originally started, the notifications processor had to run as a web job under the not classic, but the previous .NET, the pre.NET Core, and the ASP.NET 5 core stuff was not available yet to run on web jobs, but they made that available in RC1. There was a change in RC2, and now they've thrown all of that out, and we should be able to just export like a CMD as part of our project included in the publish options, and that should allow us to enable a web job. So there might be a little bit of configuration in there, so we're going to have a look at that on Azure as well over the next couple of days. And I think that's it. Jim, Richard, Tony, anything else to add before we close out? Silence on the radio.
Mass unmuting. Yeah, I'm good, buddy. Thank you so much for coordinating.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, everyone, for everything that you guys have been doing over the last couple of weeks. It's been an awesome progress, and just love watching these PRs fly in. So thanks for all of that, and to the community, those who couldn't join us today as well, thanks for continuing your contributions. It's we're really excited about the difference that this is starting to make. So thanks all. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.